Hi. Um, Today I just want to tell the story of Jesus. It's not going to be his entire life story, but it's going to be him preparing to be crucified, him crucified, and then him resurrecting. So I'm getting all of this information from chapters 14, 15, and 16 of Mark in the Bible. I got the King James Version, but whichever version that portrays this the right way, go read it. That's all that I can encourage anybody to do, because it's a really, really beautiful story. And in my opinion, the crucifixion story, to me, this is what saves. This is salvation in itself. I'm not trying to make it seem like the rest of the Bible is insignificant, but this story right here, in my opinion, in my heart, is probably the most significant, period. Like, every time that I have read this story, usually when I get to the end where he resurrects, I'm usually crying. So it's really beautiful to me, and I just really thought that I would share it with somebody who may have not heard this before, or may have not read it, or doesn't really understand the love that God has for them, because this is God's character is displayed in this story, y'all, so much. It's displayed through his son and how Jesus was. God's character is Jesus' character. They have pretty much the same personality, values, and all of those types of things. They're both loving, kind, you know what I'm saying? They're a part of the same essence. And I think this story represents that in great detail. Okay, so I'm going to start out with Mark 14. In the beginning of this, Jesus is at Simon the leper's house. So he's at a man named Simon's house, and he's waiting, for time to pass. He knows he's about to be crucified, so he's just basically chilling at this man's house. While he's at this man's house, the chief priests and the scribes and all the people that they're a part of, like, the Jewish leadership, like the main bishops and all of those people who had like positions of authority, they're sitting around somewhere together, trying to figure out how they're going to kill Jesus. They're like, how should we do it? Like, should we do it this way, this day, this hour? Like, they're trying to plan his death. And while Jesus is waiting at Simon's house, this woman walks up to him. Her name is Mary Magdalene. I know she's very popular in the Bible. She comes to Jesus with this big, I don't know if it was that big, but I know it was an alabaster box. It was a box that was filled with ointment, which is like, it's oil. That's what the ointment is. It's oil. And she breaks the box, and as the oil in the box begins to spill, she takes the oil and she pours it on Jesus's head to anoint him before he is crucified. And the anointing, what the oil symbolizes, to me, I don't think Mary was only doing that to anoint him before his death. She was doing it for that reason, but I think she was also doing it to show her appreciation and her gratitude towards Jesus for forgiving her the way that he did. Mary, she was a person in her community who, before she was saved, before she was forgiven, she had a really bad reputation. She was very, like, promiscuous. People called her, so many bad names. She was kind of a person that people would point their fingers at and be like, yeah, y'all, that's the one who's going to hell. Yep, that's the one. And Mary was kind of like the target for judgment. And Jesus, he would always defend Mary. He said, even in that story, I can't remember what chapter it was, but I know it's in the New Testament. He rebukes those people, and he says, whoever is without sin, cast the first stone at this woman. Jesus was basically calling all of those people hypocrites, because he's like, dang, like, y'all calling her a whore, you saying she gonna go to hell, but look at you, look at how you are. And Jesus purified Mary. He purified her of her sin, of what she was doing. He forgave her and he loved her. And Jesus had a lot of respect for Mary. And Mary, in return, had a lot of respect and love for Jesus. So that's why she felt the need to anoint him like that. Her mind was on spiritual things. It wasn't on worldly things at the time. She knew that Jesus was about to die. So that's why she felt the urgency to do that for him. It was all out of love. And while she was doing that, when she broke that box, the people, I'm pretty sure it was men. It was probably mostly men. Mary probably was the only woman even in there, but I'm not sure of that. But the people around her and Jesus at the time, they started talking about Mary. Like, what is she doing? Like, this girl just broke this brand new box. The oil getting on the floor. Like, who knows? Like, they was probably mad that the oil was spilling. They criticized Mary because they said, wow, like, you could have sold that oil. You could have fed the poor with that. You could have made some money off that oil, girl. Why you sitting up here breaking this box, pouring this oil on this man like this? They didn't really understand. They did not have the spiritual mind to even comprehend what Mary was doing or the significance behind what she was doing. And Jesus, hold on, actually, I forgot a point. The Bible says that a spirit of indignation developed in the hearts of those people. I looked up what the word indignation means, and it means, I wrote it down, anger, annoyance, resentment, discontent, and vexation. In a nutshell, what all of those words mean is dissatisfaction, like it said, annoyance, irritation, just a scoffy type spirit, like this woman, like they really did not like what she was doing. They were very, very, very annoyed by what she was doing because they thought she was really just being wasteful. And Jesus rebuked these people. He said, leave Mary alone. She understands that I won't be here for that much longer. She understands that I won't be with you guys always. And he rebuked them for talking bad about her. He said that what she's doing a good work in the Lord. She has a pure heart towards me. And Jesus said in the Bible in front of me, he said, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, this also that she hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. So that's why I had to shout Mary out before I even continue with this, because the Bible says whenever you speak of the crucifixion story at all, we need to be mentioning Mary, period. So yeah. Okay, so as time continues, I don't know if this was like a couple days later or the next day or maybe even a couple hours. I think it was like the next day or something like that. I know it was Passover. It was the Passover celebration. And how they celebrated, well, how Jesus and his disciples celebrated, I know, was eating. They had a big feast in an upper room chamber. So yeah, it's called supper. My grandma would always say supper when we were little, so that's how I know it means dinner. I don't know if anybody else, grandparents, do that, but I know mine did. But yeah, it's a big dinner, and they sat around the table and ate with Jesus to celebrate the Passover. And right here at this table, Jesus told his disciples that one of the 12, would betray him. And he also told them that all of them would be offended because of him that night. Now, the word betray and the word offended are completely different right here. He was saying that only one of the 12 would betray him, but he's saying all of them would be offended. So basically what offended right here means is accused, persecuted, a little ashamed, and even scared. So he's basically saying, all of y'all, you're going to be persecuted for even being associated with me tonight. You're going to be scared, and you're probably going to be ashamed of me. And he told them that, like, just was being real with them. Like, he was telling them, like, it's going down tonight. Like, that's what he was telling them. And Peter, the most confident disciple, he insists that he's not going to be offended. He said, oh, Lord, the other 11, they may be offended, but I know I won't. I am confident in myself. I will not be offended because of you. I'm going to stick next to you. And this is what Peter was insisting to Jesus. And Jesus, just because he's all-knowing, he knew what was going to happen. He told Peter, he said, Peter, before the rooster or chicken, whatever you want to call it, before it crows twice, you would have denied me thrice. So what he told Peter basically was, before you hear that chicken or that rooster make his noises, you would have already denied me 3 times this night. So that's basically what he told Peter. Like, yeah, you too, big fella, you gonna deny me too. That's what he told him. And after he told Peter this, he still denied it. He was like, oh no, Lord, nope, not me. So Peter didn't really, he still didn't believe that he would do that to Jesus. But anyway, as the night continues, Jesus and his disciples, well, hold on, before I get to that, the night, it was getting dark. They had just ate, so they were sleepy. This is around the time where Jesus started to feel sorrowful because he knew he was about to die. To me, I think the Bible is saying right here that Jesus wasn't really in a good state emotionally right here. It says, my soul is exceeding sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye here and watch. So he wanted the disciples to watch and pray with him. And he told them, pray lest ye enter into temptation. He's saying, your spirit is ready, but your flesh is weak. Like, y'all, like, you're genuine, you're sincere. I know your spirit is ready, but the devil, he's walking around seeking who to tempt. You know, you never know what temptation could arise in your heart. So he's saying, make sure you pray to protect yourself. So that's basically what he's telling his disciples. He telling them it's about to go down. So, yeah, as time goes by, he tells them, it's time, you guys. I'm about to be betrayed in the hands of sinners. Well, placed in the hand of sinners. And he was right. Him and his disciples, as the night progressed, they witnessed a huge mob with swords coming towards Jesus, trying to capture him. And who was leading that mob was Judas Iscariot, which was the disciple that Jesus was referring to at the upper room dinner when he said one of you guys would betray me. So I know you guys may be thinking, oh, it was Peter who he was talking about. No, it wasn't Peter. It was Judas who was the one that betrayed him. And Judas, this is really like what I'm about to say. This is really like just a awful, like, disgusting scenario in my head, just thinking about it and what it probably looked like. Judas coming with that mob and the way he kissed him. Judas, he kissed Jesus. It was like a, hey, master, like, you know, like, good to see you. Like, he kissed him. And he did that to help the mobsters identify who Jesus was. He basically told them, yeah, you guys, whoever I walk up and kiss, that's the one y'all need to take. So he did that. It was all slimy and shisty. It was just awful. And you know, Jesus, he knew Judas was gonna do that, but Jesus didn't love Judas any less. Honestly, I can't even say 100% that Judas didn't love Jesus. He just loved money more. He betrayed Jesus for money, for pieces of silver. He did not have a spiritual mind at all, and he was sitting up with Jesus day and night. You know what I'm saying? He probably was closer to Jesus than anybody. He just was not loyal to Jesus. So when people say, I hear a lot of people say, oh, well, love don't mean nothing, loyalty is everything. That's kind of true. Like, love is everything, don't mistake me, but loyalty is so important. And it's shown in this story, you know, with what Judas did to Jesus. So, unfortunately, Jesus is placed into captivity. He's placed into the hand of the scribes and the rulers and all of these people. And the chief priests and all the council are trying to find witnesses to justify what they're about to do to Jesus. Many people bear false witness against Jesus, and none of their stories matched up. So this shows you these people, they witnesses, they stories against Jesus as to why he should die It didn't even make no sense. It didn't match up. It was just, they were just saying a bunch of nonsense. They were just saying anything. And that just shows you right here that the devil, Satan, can unify people as well. Of course, his unifying of people, it will never last. It will never stand. It will never be anything loving or good or produce any good fruit. It never will. But he most definitely can unite people just to go against anything godly, anything holy, anything loving. And that's what he did here. These people were under a demonic spirit. That's why I bet you my last dollar, these people didn't even like each other. I bet you they didn't like each other. I don't know that for a fact, but I bet you these people did not like each other. But they said, we gonna bond, we gonna unify tonight just so we can kill him. We may not even like each other, but we really hate this man here. So that they decided, you know, we're gonna lie, we're gonna scheme, we're gonna come up with all these different stories to try to crucify him. And that's what they did. It didn't even make sense. It wasn't reasonable. It wasn't logical, but it made sense to them. So evil is evil. Evil don't gotta make sense. It's evil. So yeah, Jesus is finally asked by the high priest. Y'all, I keep looking over here because really every thought I wrote down, I had to prepare for this. And anyway, the chief priest finally asked Jesus, "Art thou the Christ, the Son of the Blessed?" And once he asked him this, Jesus answered and he said, "I am, and ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven." So Jesus said, yes, I am the Son of God, and you will see me coming back soon in the clouds, coming from heaven. So that's what he answered to him when they asked him if he was the Son of God. And his answer really, really, really triggered the high priest. He rent his clothes and he said, blasphemy. He's saying that he's God. He's saying that he's holy. He's saying that he sits on the right hand of power. Foolishness. That's basically what he said. And this was the reason that they thought was justifiable enough to crucify Jesus. So they spit on him. They hit him. They prepared him for death. Now really what I want to really place emphasis on, y'all, right now is the difference between Peter and Judas in this section of this story. Peter was in a predicament right here. Well, hold on before I go there. Peter, okay, when Jesus is preparing for death, Peter is like in a place of the palace or wherever they are. He's by the fire. He's warming himself up. So Peter, he hasn't necessarily fled from Jesus yet like all the other disciples did. He is kind of trying to stay close to him in a way. But when he sees one of the high priest's maids come toward him, and she asked Peter, wasn't you with Jesus too? Wasn't you associated with him too? And he's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I do not know what you're talking about. I think it even says that Peter was swearing, like he started cussing or something, but I'm not sure if that, no, yeah, he just denied. He swore. It says he swore. He swore that he did not know Jesus. The chicken made its noise the first time. So that first time after Peter denied Jesus, remember what I told you Jesus told him? That before the rooster makes his noises twice, Peter would have denied him 3 times. So this is the first time Peter is denying him. And then the chicken makes his noise. You can hear him. He's cock-a-doing somewhere.